Welcome to my channel. Hello, if you're new here, my name is Catherine and I post some craft videos and some outfit videos, and some vlogs and all of those good things. So if that is something that interests you, you should subscribe. And then if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. I very much appreciate your support and all you gave me. My last video was a little rough, I think I did some cool stuff, but I think it was a little rough. Hopefully it's a little less rough today. I think I'm recording when the construction is done. That was my problem. My last video was the construction was very loud, one of the problems. Anyway, today's video is going to be about junk journaling on a budget and sustainably. So if you're unfamiliar, junk journaling is a type of journaling where you glue a bunch of trash and junk and stuff into your journal. And sometimes you write about it, sometimes it's just the stuff. And yeah, I consider it very similar to scrapbooking. There's a lot of people that fight about that online, but I think it can be very similar to scrapbooking. Here are some pages that I've made, and you can kind of see how it's a little bit of junk, but it's also a scrapbook of memories. On the internet, there is a lot of content about junk journaling or scrapbooking and that very perfect aesthetic where, you know, you're probably opening a new glue stick for that video, and then everything else gets dumped after. And I hate it. I think junk journaling should incorporate your junk. It should incorporate your trash. It should incorporate the little pieces of paper that you've picked up. It shouldn't be, you know, this mass consumption of new pieces to make stuff with. You should use the stuff that you've already got. For one thing, that is good for sustainability, and for another thing, it's a lot cheaper. Scrapbook paper is so expensive. Oh my goodness, it's like $4 a sheet sometimes. That is insane. But anyway, here are some tips and tricks that I have for budget sustainable junk journaling. So my first tip is, of course, buy things secondhand. Whether that is thrift stores, antique stores, garage sales. I think everybody and their mother has attempted scrapbooking at one point, and I think for a lot of people the concept of buying scrapbook supplies is more enticing than actually sitting down and creating a scrapbook of all of your memories of a certain event or something. You know, somebody gets it for their kid, and then by the time the kid's like 2, they don't care about the scrapbook anymore. And they still have a lot of supplies that they don't know what to do with. Off to the thrift store, there goes in the garage sale, boom, bam, gone. So it's a really good place to look for actual scrapbook supplies, whether that is paper, whether that is stickers, all of those kinds of things. Also things like scissors are a good one to find secondhand. Rulers. There's a lot of school supplies at thrift stores. So just check it out. And then another thing with secondhand, there's a lot of other things that you can get and look at from thrift stores. I think calendars can make really good cheap scrapbook paper, or like junk journal paper. I'm using the words interchangeably, okay, because that's what I do. But I really like to use calendars. I really like ones with animals. I love a cat that I can cut out and put on things, but I think nature is also very, very good. Just have like a waterfall that you can glue to the page and then glue stuff over or something, or just leaves. Those are very, very good. Another thing, activity books. Ones that's like the kids learning how to like read and write. I got one, technically I didn't buy it, I had it since I was a kid, but it's like Disney characters, how to draw like letters and stuff. So it just has pictures of the characters. So I cut that up and I have the characters from it. And I think that is a really good thing to find different, you know, just paper products. Another thing that I like to look for are brochures and maps and that kind of thing. Brochures are good for, you know, pretty pictures, stuff about events that you may have been to. Crazy, what? And then something else I like to thrift is lace and ribbon. If you watched my last video, I did a lot of work with ribbons and lace, and pretty much everything I used in that video was thrifted, which means I'm running out of stuff, so you should get me ribbons. But that is something flat that I can put in my journal. That's something that I personally like, is things that are flatter and will allow the journal to close. But all of those things are very good things to look for secondhand. You can also find vintage magazines, which I don't really look for as much because sometimes it stresses me out cutting up old magazines, because I'm like, oh, what if somebody's like needs to remember it? What if it's like a rare edition? But all good things. There's a store in Kansas City called Scraps KC, and that is all secondhand craft supplies. And they have a lot of magazines and calendars all put together that you can take and make stuff with. So all good things. Moving on. Trash. I think this should be obvious, being that it is junk journaling, but I'm talking about like anything. Look for any kind of patterns on whatever you've got, whatever you're seeing. One thing that I'm very excited about when it comes to trash and using a new piece is this envelope that my dad got from the bank. You know, it's pretty basic, right? Just a boring envelope. But look how cool that texture is. A nice little black and white, stripy, I don't even know what that is. But I really like that, and I'm very hyped to use that. I feel like scrapbook paper isn't often black and white, and that is a color scheme that I use a lot because my main vibe is black, white, and red. I am very excited to use that. And then going back to calendars, once you've used a calendar for the year, what are you gonna do with it? Put it in your journal. Put the pretty pictures in your journal. Use them, collage with them, do something with them. I think it's really good to reuse that kind of stuff. I don't think I've ever gotten rid of a calendar. I'm sure I have. I do not remember the last time I got rid of a calendar because I stashed them back to make stuff with. I love flowery ones. Flowers are so good. There's so many different colors. Thinking. But I say definitely just look around at your trash. Look at what is a flat thing that I can put in my journal. What is something that matches the color schemes that I want for a certain page. And yeah. Third tip is learn how to draw, or learn how to avoid drawing. So if you're anything like me, I am not a strong sketcher. I like to think I'm a creative person and I have some creative ability, but I'm not good at drawing. And it's, if you practice, you get better, but I don't want to practice. I don't have time. I don't have time to commit, and I don't want to. So I would say if you don't have that drawing ability to look at something and then draw it to put on your page, find doodles, like step-by-step doodles online that you can step-by-step, or figure out a good way to trace simple images. I really like to avoid drawing as much as I can, but sometimes you don't have that perfect sticker. Sometimes you don't have the perfect little thing for a corner. So I try to draw, and I try to look at the picture, look at the drawing, look at the picture, look at the drawing, and see what I can do. I really like step-by-step tutorials on like Pinterest. And yeah, I think just looking up doodle and then whatever you're looking for, you're probably gonna find what you want, and it's easy. And I like easy. Easy is fun. That doesn't necessarily help you improve your art skills, but I'm not really looking to improve my drawing skills. I'm looking to make a collage, and that's okay. So my fourth thing is use what you get. So this refers to everything you get at an event, take it home. For example, you get a wristband, take it home. You get a ticket, take it home. I have so many things in my journal. Receipts, they're coming home with me. If you get like a clean wrapper for some kind of food, coming home. I don't like anything with crumbs on it. That scares me. but often maybe the center of a paper has like the food crumbs and grease and the edges don't. And that is a really, really lovely thing that I like to take. Those always have good patterns. I've taken part of a tablecloth that was getting thrown away. I've taken part of like a plastic tarp, not like a tarp, but like just like a plastic thing. Took that home with me. They weren't gonna use it. They were throwing it out. It was coming home with me. And I do recommend having a jacket with big pockets. That is how I took my little piece of tablecloth, because it was like this big, because I hadn't cut it yet. I just kind of stuffed it in my pocket. And then I had like a big lump, but I had a tablecloth. And one of my professors came up to me and he's like, what is in your pocket? And I'm like, tablecloth. And he's like, why? And I'm like, do you know how many this size journal pages fit on a tablecloth? So many. If I get something, it's coming home with me. It's going in my purse, it's going in my bra, it's going in my socks. I don't know. It's coming home. I'll do what I have to do. My fifth thing is use what you came with as opposed to taking stuff out. If you're going somewhere, prepare what you might need. One thing that I really, really like is a lipstick blot, whether that's going directly on the page or going on a piece of paper to then be put in the journal. I think this really captures part of the moment, part of what's going on. I've done this for things like prom or things like different concerts where it's the makeup that I was wearing on that specific event, and events where the makeup is kind of part of it, where I would say like school dances and concerts and whatever else makeup is important for. And then plus it's just really aesthetically pleasing. I love a lipstick blot, even if it's not like a memory. I think it's just a cool thing to do. And I think it's so easy to just bam, something pretty. And then I would also say if you have like an itinerary or a list of something, I've done this for some of my college move-ins where I have a list that my grandma wrote of stuff that I should probably bring for my apartment. That is going in there. I think those are little important memories, and I think they're just good to hold on to, but you might not want to store them elsewhere. So having a little piece of that popped into the journal is really cool. And I really like that. I have a bunch of notes from my mom. I have notes from my friend. I have a page that's entirely friends' drawings. And then my final tip is that it takes a village. I think something really important is communicating your hobby to the people in your life. Similar to sustainable fashion, I think having other people that know you and know what you like so that everybody can be like on the same page and like getting things for each other, I think that's really good. And especially when it comes to journaling, because it's not like you're asking somebody to buy something for you. It's, hey, I like little pieces of paper. Will you please give me your little piece of paper? And, you know, I have a boyfriend. He's like, do you want my ticket for this thing? Do you want this? Do you want that? Yes, of course I want that thing. My grandma, she went to New York and she's like, yeah, I got you some little random playbill cards. Do you want them? And I'm like, yes, of course I want them. When you're out with friends and maybe they order something and you don't. I was recently at a concert and one of my friends got food and I did not because it was expensive. Or one of my friends got a sticker at an event and then she didn't want it the next day and I'm like, please give me the sticker. And yeah, I think it's just really important because it's something that's so easy for someone else to do, is just save a little piece of paper for you. And it can make you some cool stuff, and it gives you little pieces of events when it comes to journaling about different things happening. Having those little pieces of different events I think is really nice, even if it's just, you know, a random piece of a wrapper, if it's just like a candy wrapper, a food paper, whatever it is that you have found that somebody else can be like, hey, I know a girl. And that is going to be all of my tips and tricks for this video. I hope you learned something. I hope this one is shorter than my last one. My last one had like over an hour of content that I had to cut down to 20 minutes. But anyway, that is going to be all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you were inspired, and I hope you are gonna go craft something with random stuff that you have. I hope to see you in the next one. I think it'll be a bigger production than this. Thank you so much.